Nothing is ever lost, and we are not forgotten. We are living in the heart of God. Nothing is ever lost, and we are not forgotten. We are living in the heart of God. We are living in the heart of God. We are living, we are living, we are living in the heart of God. Morning sun coming through the trees, and the green leaves shimmer in the gentle breeze. The songbirds singing to the honeybees, living in the heart of God. We are living, we are living, living in the heart of God. We are living, we are living, we are living in the heart of God. After the dazzle of the day is done, the moon makes love to the setting sun. The stars come twinkling by one, living in the heart of God. We are living, we are living, we are living in the heart of God. We are living, we are living, we are living in the heart of God. We are living, we are living, we are living in the heart of God. We are living, we are living, we are living in the heart of God. Yes, we are living in the heart of God. Yes, we are living in the heart of God. Living in the heart of God.
Good morning, Unity. Good morning. I'm Reverend John Riley, and I have the joy of serving as your senior minister. And it's wonderful to see you all here this morning. Thank you to all of you who are with us in person, and thanks to all of you who are watching online, either live or during the week. Know that you're in our hearts and in our prayers, and we are all in the right place at the right time right now. Yes? If you're new to Unity, what we want you to know is that Unity is a global spiritual community welcoming people from all walks of life. People who are seeking a deeper experience of spirit, a greater sense of health, wholeness, and abundance. People looking for spiritual growth, transformation, and to do life better. We teach positive, practical spiritual principles that you can apply in your life every day to help you live a more joyful and abundant life. We're so blessed this morning to have with us Joe Angeles as our platform leader, Deborah Winters as our soloist, Russell Norman on piano, and Ron E. Beck on drums. And so we will begin with our opening song. I'll invite you all to stand as Deborah leads us.
I start my day with love. When I start my day with love, that's what I get more of, is love. I start my day with love. When I start my day with love, that's what I get more of, is love. Love, love, love. Love, love, love. Love, love, love. start my day with joy. Everything I do is infused with joy. Joy, joy, joy. Joy, joy, joy. Joy, joy, joy. Joy, joy, joy. Let's go to peace. I start my day with peace. When I start my day with peace, I feel that sweet release of peace. I start my day with peace. When I start my day with peace, I feel that sweet release of peace. Come on, peace, peace, peace. Peace, peace, peace. Peace, peace, peace. Peace, peace, peace. I start my day with love. When I start my day with love, that's what I get more of, is love. Let's sing it like we mean it. I start my day with love. When I start my day with love, that's what I get more of, is love. Here we go. Love, love, love. Love, love, I sound great. Open the eyes of my heart. Open the eyes of my heart. Open the eyes of my heart. I want to see you. I want to see you. Open the eyes of my heart. Open the eyes of my heart. I want to see you. I want to see you. To see you high and lifted up, shining in the light of your glory. Pour out your power and love as we sing, holy, holy, holy. Open the eyes of my heart. Open the eyes of my heart. I want to see you. I want to see you. Open the eyes of my heart.
Open the eyes.
Open my eyes and my heart. I want to see you. I want to see you. Here we go. To see you high and lifted up, shining in the light of your glory. Pour out your power and love as we sing, holy, holy, holy. Open the eyes of my heart. Open the eyes of my heart. I want to see you. I want to see you.
Good morning. Isn't it awesome just to start our day with love, joy, and peace? Yes? I am Joe Angeles. It's an honor to be your platform leader this morning. and to connect with all of you both in person, online, and during the week. And the cool thing about Unity is that we only have 5 Unity principles that guide us on our spiritual path. First one, God is. There's only one presence and one power active in our lives and the universe, God, the good omnipotence. And my word for God this morning is actually going to be our second principle, divine substance, the I am. Because God is a substance and intelligence innate in every person and in all creation. And as I was driving here this morning, one thing that kicked into me was like, God underlies all things. God stands under all things, that no matter what's happening on the surface, I know underneath that, beneath all that is God, no matter how challenging it can be. And so when I have that idea, the best way for me to put that into action, or to put that more in my life, is through the third principle, which is the law of mind action. Excuse me. What that means is that the more I think that God underlies all things, that's also what I'm going to be starting to see in my world. Because we have the ability to affect our world through our thoughts and our feelings. And the best way for me to do that, our fourth principle, which I actually call if third principle is the practice of the mind, fourth principle is the practice of the heart. The moment we connect with our creative, constructive power of God to work in us and through us, we're actually connecting our minds with our hearts. So that when we do the fifth principle, which is our daily practice, we do it from our minds, we do it from our hearts, and of course we do it in our body. We give it feet, in a way. And so as we practice these principles daily, we express more of that divine substance, that divine love, that joy, that peace that we're talking about today. And I can count on it. I've seen it in my own life. Life gets better. And the cool thing about the 5 principles, it's not just in our personal life, but also we can also use it to guide us in living out our vision statement, which is going to be coming up in a minute. So I'd like you to affirm it with me. Centered in God, we co-create a world that works for all. And so it is.
Surely the presence of the one is in this place. I can feel God's mighty power and God's grace. I can feel the hush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of the one is in this place. I can feel the hush of angels' wings and see glory on each face. Now surely the presence of God's love is in this place.
And now for our reading from the Daily Word. Today's Daily Word is caring. I will read our affirmation, then I will invite you to affirm it with me. I am caring and compassionate. Together, I am caring and compassionate. Sometimes my heart goes out to a friend or even a stranger who is struggling. Other times, my heart breaks when I learn of another's devastating news. In those moments, I feel compassion and want to help. I pray affirming health, wholeness, peace, and comfort. I might call on the phone or visit in person or by Zoom. I may offer financial support or material goods. When needs are great, I know whatever I can do is helpful. I know many people care as their humanity is harmonized with their divinity. Our joined efforts, minds, hearts, and hands create a network of support as we lift up even in the direst of situations. And our Bible verse for today is from 1 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 8. So deeply do we care for you, that we are determined to share with you not only the gospel of God, but also our own selves, because you have become dear to us.
For every dream we have, there's another one to dream that will come true. Whenever clouds roll in, we'll look high enough to see a rainbow's end. We'll play in the sunshine, we'll dance in the moonlight, we'll sing in a hard times and find it on the wings. We'll find it on the wings of love. For every heart that breaks, there'll be joy that comes along to take its place. For every time we fall, a voice will pick us up to hear a higher call. We'll play in the sunshine, we'll dance in the moonlight, we'll sing in the hard times and find it on the wings. We'll find it on the wings of love. Everybody come along, and we can find it on the wings. We can find it on the wings of love. Everybody sing a song, and we can find it on the wings. We can find it on the wings of love. For every dark of night comes the morning star up in the sky, all bright. Whatever toils and cares, high up in heaven there's a light that's always there. We'll play in the sunshine, oh, we'll dance in the moonlight, and we'll sing in the hard times and find it on the wings. We'll find it on the wings of love. Everybody come along, and we can find it on the wings. We can find it on the wings of love. Everybody sing a song,
Well, good morning. Thank you so much, Deborah. Thank you so much, Russell and Ronnie. Beautiful. Good morning, all of you extraordinary and marvelous eggs. Eggs? Well, if you missed last week, we were inspired by C.S. Lewis's quote, "We are like eggs at present." Do you remember this? For those of you here, we are like eggs at present, and you cannot go indefinitely just being an ordinary and decent egg. You must be hatched or go bad. So I'm affirming that you are extraordinary, marvelous eggs, yes? Oh my goodness, I am an extraordinary and marvelous egg. Together, I am an extraordinary and marvelous egg. Ready to hatch. Well, we were 10, okay, it's expensive. It's expensive to stay an egg, so let's become chickens. Okay, so last week we had this intention, right? We set an intention of leaning into change, of leaning into the change that we are experiencing in our personal life, in our culture, in the world around us, because there are a lot of things that are changing. There's some things that are going back to the way they used to be, but not really. It's a little bit different. And the way we move into this new experience of life is by leaning in with curiosity, by shifting our consciousness from ordinary, decent thinking to extraordinary and marvelous thinking. Yes? And I introduced the 15 Commitments of Conscious Leadership, a wonderful book that the board is using, and I introduced this practice of being committed to learning through curiosity, being committed to shifting from that lower, self-centered ego awareness to our whole self, our higher self awareness. And we do that through curiosity. When things come up, instead of getting triggered, instead of going down that path, we just simply become curious about it and open our minds to possibility. Now, we're either living above the line or below the line. And if we're below the line, we're living from that standpoint of being closed, defensive, and committed to being right. Now, anybody know anybody? It's certainly not us. But anybody know anybody like that in their lives? And when we shift above the line, we're committed to being open, curious, and committed to learning and growing. And just that simple commitment, that willingness to be curious, shifts us up above the line. It shifts us immediately into that open consciousness, into that higher sense of self, that higher sense of who we are and who we've come here to be. And shifting above the line with curiosity opens the doorway to the heart. It opens the doorway to the heart. Now, you may have heard the saying, the longest journey that one can take is the 18 inches from the head to the heart. Anybody remember that one? It's unknown who actually came up with that aphorism. But the idea here is that we are shifting from our thinking, our intellectualizing, to truly feeling the emotion, feeling it in our heart, at a heart level. So shifting from just being up here thinking about it to being down in the heart. And that can be very difficult for some people. It can be very challenging to get out of that intellectual concept, that intellectual mind, and shift into our heart so we can have a greater sense of knowing, a greater sense of feeling and being. So I want to talk today about that idea of being open-hearted. Now, open-hearted is one of my core values, and it came to me, I think about 6-8 months ago, and it came to me the way everything comes to me after some meditation, after some prayer. It's just, there's this idea, this word that comes to me, open-hearted. And I didn't really know what it meant, but I put it on my card anyway, my values card. And I said, okay, I'm here to be open-hearted. Now, what does this mean? How do I show up like that? And what I found very quickly is that it is, the first aspect of it is listening with an open heart. And the way I figured this out is I was in a conversation with a board, not this board, not at this church, but another board that I'm on, And there was some contention in the air, and there was some frustration in the air, and there was some questions about what we were doing, whether it was right or wrong. And I started to get caught up into it. I started to intellectualizing it. Well, what are we really here for? And who's the audience that we're serving? And how can we, and just started thinking about it, and I started getting caught up in the anxiety and the emotions. Have you ever experienced that, where you get caught up in the story? And then I remembered my core value, and I just said, okay, open-hearted. And that shifted me immediately. My mind stopped. It stopped intellectualizing. It stopped trying to fix everybody. It stopped trying to complain about what everyone else was doing. And all of a sudden, I was open and listening from a space of harmony, a space of compassion, a space of trying to understand, of really listening to what's happening. It was amazing to me that just that one phrase, be open-hearted, was enough for me to shift above the line. So often in conversation, you may realize or recognize this when you're in a conversation with somebody. So often the brain is ticking along. What am I going to say next? Right? Oh, here's a good line. I wonder when I can get it in. I keep waiting for that opening. 15 minutes later, I bring it in. Oh, that was 15 minutes ago. Nobody even remembers the conversation. You know the key to comedy, right? Anybody ask me? Go ahead, ask me. What's the key to comedy? Timing. Okay, yeah. There's no timing. But that's what we're doing. We're sitting and we're thinking, how am I going to show up? What persona am I going to put on? How should I act? How should I look? You know, we're putting on a mask in this conversation, and it's all driven by this thing in our heads, by this thought tyrant, if you will. We're thinking about how we can fix that. Oh, I know exactly what's going on in that person. This is what they need to do. You should, I can't believe that they're talking about this again. You should leave him. You should leave her. You should go to a different doctor. You should, not go to a doctor. You should do this. You should do that. All of these things come out because our brain is doing what our brain is supposed to do. Think and give you ideas. And we're stuck in the head so much that we can't get into the heart. How can I fix it? How can I act? We start judging people. I can't believe that Nick Bosa is now the highest paid defensive NFL player in the history of the NFL. And we have him for 5 years. See, that's what our brain does, right? It gets distracted. I can't believe. I wonder how the Niners are going to do this year. I'm a big Sharks fan, but yeah, that's 5 years out. Anyway, all because we're in our head and we don't get down into our heart. So listening with an open heart, being truly present with someone, it's deep listening. It's not listening with any dialogue going on in your cuckoo head, right? It's soaking in the conversation so that you can allow creativity, allow possibility to emerge, to allow that sense of knowingness to come, and then connect with one another. Connect with one another heart to heart. Being below the line is, in terms of being open-hearted, is when we're self-centered ego is in charge, where we're committed to being right, being the star, being the center, and not really caring that much about the other person, because it's all about me. When we're above the line and we start to listen with our heart, we become a friend. We allow the deep wisdom of Spirit that's within us to flow. We allow ourselves to be present to one another and be a present. And that's the first aspect that I came up with. The second aspect of being open-hearted is that we have a deeper relationship with our own feelings, a deeper understanding of what is going on within us when we're open-hearted. It's developing our emotional intelligence, if you will. Now, the fifth commitment in the book, the fifth commitment of one who is leading and living from that higher state of consciousness, is to feel all of the feelings. When you get into your heart, all of a sudden, there are all of these things going on in there, all of these feelings that pop up, that sometimes we're just not used to dealing with. Right? That's why we go into our head. We turn off that part of ourselves so that we don't have to deal with all of that emotion. In the book, they say feelings not only add to the richness and color of life, but are also an essential ally to successful leading, to successful leadership, to successful spiritual living, because it gets us more in tune with the whole of us. It starts to open the door to this idea of wholeness within us. And so commitment number 5 is feeling all the feelings. We know that we're below the line when we are resisting, judging, or apologizing for my own feelings. Now, just notice when you've done that or when someone's done that. I'm feeling sad. Sorry, I'm just sad. Sorry, I didn't mean to get in your way. Sorry, I'm feeling a little upset. Sorry, I'm feeling frustrated. Then we try to repress, we try to avoid, and we try to withhold them. That's the natural progression when we're below the line and not willing to feel those feelings. Becoming above the line, shifting above the line, according to the book, is when I am committed to feeling my feelings all the way through to completion. They come, I locate them in my body, and then I move, I breathe, I vocalize them so that they release all the way through. So I'm not stifling any part of it. And I'm also not reacting to them. I'm allowing them to express themselves. So the practice of feeling the feelings, what they say in the book is first, what I say, be open-hearted. Become aware. Be aware of where you're at. Notice what you're feeling. Notice when feelings arise, it's okay. Just notice them. You can ask the question, what am I feeling now? Go ahead, ask the question. I'll wait. Thank you, Joe. You might be feeling intrigued or curious. You might be feeling thirsty. You might be bored and distracted. We all get there sometimes. We might feel inspired. We might feel inspired and hopeful. So the question is, locate those. Understand what the feelings are. And then locate it. Where is it in your body? Where are you? Because there's sensations in the body. Always. That's why whenever we hear all the statistics, when we're angry all the time, our body starts to break down, we get frustrated, we get ulcers, all of those things happen. So locate the sensation in your body. Breathe. And allow those bits and pieces of your body to do what they do. Just allow it to be. And then move the energy. Right? The emotions are just energy within us, so move it. And whatever you do, kind of match the tone of the energy. So if I'm really angry and frustrated, I'm going to turn on a great song and start rocking out. I might go on a hike. Something to move the energy in the moment. It's really, the way I like to look at it is, it's like a boiling water. Right? The pot of water. The water is your emotions. The flame are the stories, the beliefs, the myths that you've starting to tell yourself, the thoughts, the below-the-line thinking that start to bubble up and heat the water until it's bubbling, until it's roiling, until it's boiling. Anybody boil before in their life? And it will continue to go until the water is gone, till it dissipates, till we burn out. All we have to do, though, is turn off the heat, turn off the story, shift out of those habitual stories, shift out of those, false ideas about yourself, those ideas of lack and limitation, those ideas of not enough, of not being enough, and certainly they are not enough. And we shift out of that by curiousness. And as soon as we do that, we shift back into our heart. It's like you turn off the flame, and how long does it take the boiling water to come back to room temperature? As long as it takes. But it's not going to keep going up if you don't give it the fuel. It's going to naturally cool down. And you will naturally cool down. And the scientists say if you just allow that, I don't remember the names of the scientists, but I've seen a couple of different researches that say it takes about 90 seconds for the emotion, for the chemicals, for everything to just drain out of you, to allow yourself to become present again. So feel all the feelings. Give yourself permission to feel all the feelings. And notice where it is in your body, and then allow it to just be without any story, and it will pass through you. And then go back to the heart. The third aspect of being open-hearted that for me is just so important and powerful is that being open-hearted opens the door to your spiritual wholeness. It takes us out of our separation of mind and ego and higher mind versus ego, and it brings us immediately to the heart and opens the door to the rest of us, to our body senses, to all of the different energy centers, whatever you believe, however you like to put it. But it starts to open the door to our spiritual wholeness, and it's the path to integrating the whole of you into your experience. That's what wholeness is about. We're whole, we're one in spirit, we're one in God, we're one. God is in you like the ocean is in the wave, and that is all part of you, and this is the whole of you, my ego and all. So when we become open-hearted and start to sink into that spiritual energy of the divine love, as I like to call the harmonizing energy of spirit, when we begin to sink into that, it quiets the inner tyrant of the mind, the inner tyrant of the self-serving ego. That part of us that is here, that is only really interested in, acquisition, possession, and control of things and people. That's only interested in hoarding and fortifying and dominating what's happening in their life. That self-focused ego that puffs itself up at the expense of others. That's closed, defensive, and committed to being right. That is committed to resisting, judging, and apologizing for my feelings. That is committed to repressing, avoiding, and withholding our feelings. It's not if, it's when. So don't worry about raising your hand. It's just when we find ourselves there. When we find ourselves there, that's the time to take a moment, take a breath, and say, be open-hearted. And interrupt that tyrant in your mind. I had an experience where, a couple days ago, where something happened and I was angry. It just, boom, right there. And in my mind, I was going around, well, they should, and this isn't right. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm a little 2-year-old again. Remember those terrible twos? That's what happens within us. That's the tyrant. That's the part of us that's just trying to, that self-centered ego that just wants everything the way they want it. And as soon as I said, whoa, get open-hearted again, it stopped. As soon as I said it. Our spiritual wholeness is that idea that we are one mind, body, and spirit. So you have heard it said, the longest journey one can take is 18 inches from the head into the heart. And what I have come away from that in the past was thinking, yeah, I'm going to leave the head behind and just live for my heart, but it's not about that either. Remember, the mind is curious. The mind is then open to see the wonders of God, to see the wonders of spirit, to wonder at the grand experience of life, to be present to all that is, to see and hear that still small voice, and then to move and put it into action in service to that higher consciousness. It is holding all of us sacred, for we are all magnificent, extraordinary, wonderful beings exploding and evolving into even greater sense of awareness of self, a greater sense of wholeness, and therefore a greater sense of community and connection with each other and the world around us. Felix, would you bring up our affirmation? I'm going to read our affirmation and then invite you to affirm it with me. And as I read it, just take it in. Allow it to soak in. Listen with an open heart. Don't worry if the words don't match up with yours. You can put in your own words. But just listen with your heart. With an open heart, I claim the presence of divine love within me. I listen, speak, and act with loving kindness. Would you affirm that with me together? With an open heart, I claim the presence of divine love within me. I listen, speak, and act with loving kindness. And so it is. In his second letter to the Corinthians, chapter 3, verse 16, Paul wrote, But the moment one turns to the Lord with an open heart, the veil is lifted and they see. The moment you turn within to that divine presence, to divine love, to infinite source, to the allness of life, love, and wisdom, the moment that you turn within with an open heart, everything else becomes clear. The veil is lifted, and you experience and have that expression of your oneness with God. Let's take that into our time of meditation and affirmative prayer. I'll invite you to take a nice, deep, cleansing breath and close your eyes if that feels comfortable, or simply soften your gaze as we begin to tune out this outer experience. The mind, the brain is going to do what the brain is going to do. Thoughts will come, thoughts will go. Just simply notice them and return to the heart. I am open-hearted. You might place your hand on your heart and feel the breath as it flows in, expanding, filling your diaphragm, collapsing as the breath gently flows out. I am open-hearted. With each breath, we draw in divine love, that harmonizing energy of spirit. With each exhalation, we express that into the world as kindness, compassion, joy, enthusiasm. With each breath, we draw in the inner peace, the peace of spirit which is always available. With each exhalation, we express a peaceful presence, calm, composed, clear. With each breath in, we are one with the infinite. And so let us breathe into that space, open-hearted, into the stillness of the silence. With an open heart, I claim the presence of divine love within me. I am filled with the healing, harmonizing energy of spirit. Infinite intelligence flows in, through, and as me now. I am lifted up to a new realization of my oneness with God. With an open heart, I listen. With an open heart, I speak. With an open heart, I am the expression of divine love, infinite peace, and joyful wisdom in the world. In the flow of that energy, feeling that love flow through us, we surround our prayer chests, all of the prayers that have come in person and online, with our hearts, with our love, affirming that each person in each situation becomes open-hearted, open to the possibilities of Spirit moving in, through, and as them. If there's somebody who you hold in prayer, I invite you to say their name out loud or bring their name to mind as we hold them in this same energy of love. We extend this love out into the world as we surround our planet, lifting up all of humanity as we bless all of humanity in this very moment. seeing each person discovering that spiritual magnificence within them. We bless the planet and all of creation, knowing that divine love is doing its perfect work in this very moment. And for that truth, we are joyfully grateful. We are richly, richly blessed. And we celebrate by singing the Alleluia.
Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah,
Unity Palo Alto is here to help you discover that spiritual magnificence. And as we take a nice deep cleansing breath in return, we celebrate that joyous experience within us, allowing that love to be our guide today. Yes? Yes. And with that love in our hearts, we bless this spiritual community. Unity Palo Alto is an independent spiritual community supported by your generous donations, and so we thank you for your donations. If you'd like to give, there are many ways in which you can support our spiritual community. If you'd like to give a donation in the sanctuary, there's a little silver box in the back that says love offering. You can place your love offering there. You can donate online. In fact, in your pews now, we have a little card with a QR code that says if you'd like to make a donation, you can simply scan that QR code and put in your information there. And there's also, if you want to get attached to our guest Wi-Fi here in the sanctuary, there's a little QR code for that. So you can do that. And I'd just like to say first, thank you, because it takes a village. Thank you to Rusty Gaylord, who created the card and got the QR codes. Thank you to me, who printed them. Thank you to Ann Hiley, who cut them. And thank you to Catherine Hamrick-Down, who placed them in your pews. So you're welcome to take that home if you'd like and give a donation every other day or every day. But however you give, give with love. Because it's the manner in which we give to the world that we receive from the world. And so our affirmation is on the screen, and I invite you to affirm it with me. Together, divine love from me blesses and multiplies all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is.
525,600 minutes, 525,000 moments so dear, 525,600 minutes. How do you measure a year? In daylight, in sunsets, in midsights, in cappuccinos, in inches, in miles, in laughter, in stride. In 525,600 minutes. How do you measure a year in a life? How about love? How about love? How about love? Measuring love. Seasons of love. Seasons of love.
That's all I gotta say. Isn't it amazing just to be in that season of love every single moment of our lives? Yes? And isn't it amazing that we can take a moment just to open our hearts wide to that love? Yes? And we are so blessed to come together today, indeed, as a community and to create this connection through our music. So one more round of applause to Deborah, to Russell, and to Ron Ebeck. Yes? And of course, our very own Reverend John Riley for that open heart message today. Thank you, John. And then, of course, all of you. Yes. And the cool thing about our community is that doesn't stop here on Sundays. Actually, we have more. And I'm going to tell you more about it, how we can do that for spiritual growth, sacred service, and celebration here at Unity Palo Alto. Starting with our monthly Unity Palo Alto prayer service that is today with our very own licensed Unity extraordinary teacher, Casey Wicker. And that's going to be on Zoom at 11:15. This is our opportunity to, those prayer requests that we have, we get to give them our open hearts of love even more before we actually send it out to Silent Unity, and it's going to be on Zoom. And then it doesn't stop there. We have another opportunity to actually to be more open-hearted, to give our love through prayer, because we are going to have our World Day of Prayer, which is going to be this coming Wednesday at 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. on Zoom. Again, open-hearted. And this is going to be with us, the prayer chaplain team. And I love our theme because it's the heart of healing. And even the affirmation for this is like, I open my heart to healing in this moment. So please join us. It's going to be an hour of reading, of music, and of meditation, obviously. And then, so once you get that heart of healing, open-hearted, then you get to have some fun, starting with our pickup parties. Yes, so we're going to have one on Saturday, which is September 16 at 11:30 a.m. I don't see Paula, but it's going to be the Caribbean Food and Music Fest. You got to hurry up because we have only 5 tickets left. And the highlight of this is Paula's Hibiscus Tea, and it's going to be catered, and there's going to be music. And so what I heard is you got to get your hips moving in this one. And then the fun continues. The following Sunday, September 17, is that, remember that baby that we celebrated last week? He is going to have his first game day. So you get to spend 3 hours with him, plus games and snacks. And then if you want to know more information about all of these wonderful things that's happening in our community, in our spiritual community, is you can go to our website at unitypaloalto.org. You can also check out our social media channels. So there are so many ways to connect with us. And that is the good news that we already are here at Unity Palo Alto. Yes? And today is the second Sunday of the month. It's our Sharing Abundance Sunday. So each month, our community shares a portion of our donations with a safety net organization serving the San Francisco Bay Area. And this month, we welcome Cake for Kids as the recipients of our Sharing Abundance donation. And Kim Pinsker is going to tell us more about it.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Kim, and I am one of the newest members of the Sharing Abundance Committee. And just to give a shout out for the committee, if there's anyone here who wants to hear more about what we're doing, please contact me. And as Joe shared, I am honored to recognize Cake for Kids as being the recipient of the Sharing Abundance gift this month for September. And with us today, thank you for being with us, is Julie Eads, who's currently the president of the board of directors for Cake for Kids, along with Lori Gray, who's one of their amazing volunteers. And if you don't mind, I'm going to just read so that I don't miss anything. Cake for Kids is an organization that generously provides free birthday cakes to underserved children to celebrate their birthdays. Their volunteers bake and deliver homemade custom birthday cakes, cupcakes, and cookies for those who are in foster care, are victims of violence or human trafficking, homeless, or are living at the poverty line. And to take their words, in a world where the basics of a positive childhood are often out of reach and youth have little to call their own, the seemingly simple gift of a birthday cake can make a huge impact by raising their self-esteem and their confidence. So to answer your question on how I'm feeling inspired and grateful to welcome both of you, and please, and Julie's going to share more information about Cake for Kids.
Thank you. Should I move here?
Please.
Yeah. I can see myself. Thank you so much. What a wonderful community here. It just feels so great. I love the open heart. That's what we think about a lot at Cake for Kids. So I know that the information is actually on your website. I'm just going to give you a few intangible facts to begin with, and I'm going to finish by talking a little bit about Laurie. Can't hear me? Can you hear me now? Okay, that helps. That helps. Hey, speak into the microphone. So as Kim said, we bake and deliver birthday cakes for underserved children. We actually bake for children from the age of 1 all the way up to 24, because in the state of California, they recognize that even up to 24, you still need some safety net services. So that's basically what we do. We partner with human and social services agencies, domestic violence shelters, homeless shelters, foster care agencies, refugee centers, low-income poverty services, those kind of agencies, and find the children who need these gifts of a cake. The cakes are all free, they're custom. The children can ask for, and I'm sure you've seen this, the children can ask for anything. The color, the flavor, the theme, and basically there's no theme that goes untouched at Cake for Kids. We started in 2010. It was actually started by a lady called Libby Grunder. She lived in Sunnyvale. And she read a story about a young girl, a young teenager, who had been moved to yet another foster home. And her new foster mom knew it was her birthday, wanted to make her a cake, made her the cake. The girl comes home from school. She presents the cake to the child, to the young girl, who immediately bursts out crying, runs to her bedroom, closes the door. New foster mom has no idea why she did that. Eventually worked up the courage to go to the bedroom and said, you know, if you don't like the color or the flavor, I'll make another cake or we'll go and buy one. She said, no, it's not that. I've never had a cake. And she was so overwhelmed by the fact this person took the time to really do something special for her. So Libby at the time had 2 young kids of her own. She set out a little grassroots effort, as most of these things start, to bake cakes in her community of Sunnyvale. That was 2010. We're in 16 states now, and we have 24 chapters. The majority of our cakes are still California. Thank you. And I think in the first year we baked about 30 cakes, and this last year we baked just shy of 12,000 cakes across the country. We're able to do this only because of our volunteers. So we don't use any bakeries. All of our cakes are baked by home bakers, such as Laurie, and absolutely. And why this is so special, it's really interesting. When a baker makes a cake, they can send a little note to us. They have to take a picture of their cake. That's how they prove that they actually baked the cake. And sometimes they tell us stories about how they were doing something like a Pokemon cake, and they put on the television and they had Pokemon in the background. And, you know, so much love goes into this. Laurie will probably tell you, it's kind of a selfless volunteering activity. Oftentimes you go to a food bank, you help the people at the food bank, you see their faces, how grateful they are. With Cake for Kids, it's not really like that. You look on a calendar, you see a child that needs a cake. If the time of the day works for you, then you put your name against that. You go and buy the ingredients. You lovingly bake the cake. We always tell our bakers that we feel that the children can feel the love, how much you bake into the cake. They bake the cake, they put it in a box, they take it to the agency, they drop it off, they never see the child. Oftentimes they don't have any feedback at all. Occasionally, they might get a letter or a thank you card, and we always tell them it's not that they don't care, it's just sometimes they don't have the ability or the information isn't passed on to them. So it really is a selfless service that you do for Cake for Kids. I'm so grateful for you, Laurie, for doing that. And we have thousands of volunteers, and they can bake one cake or they can bake 100 cakes. So that's really what we do. We're all across the peninsula. This donation today means a lot to us. We love it when we are recognized by our community, because that means the world to us. And continue with the open heart. You know, it really is with a lot of open hearts that these volunteers help the children feel a little bit more self-esteem, a little bit more love, where unfortunately they've grown up no fault of their own, with not the same kind of circumstances that we would hope our children have. So thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts for that. I don't know if Laurie wants to say something.
I just want to thank Unity. I've been coming here for 8 years, I think. Every year we celebrate Kim's birthday, our group of friends, and I've been a Cake for Kids volunteer for 8 years, I think. And I love doing it. And as she says, you know, I don't always know how the kids respond to the cakes, but in my heart, I know that they feel more special. And that makes me feel special that I could provide that for them. There was one letter we did receive from a social service worker, and it just really touched my family. There was a little girl who I made a cake for who was 10 years old, and her social service worker said, "We are having trouble finding her a home." So she's been in foster care for her entire life, I believe. And my husband begged me to call them to find out if maybe we could adopt her. And I was like, honey, you know, we just raised 2 children and they're out of the house. But and even our son, our adult son, said, Mom, we really should find out about this young girl and how she's doing. So it does touch us. Every once in a while we do hear back. And I feel the love in other ways. And if anyone is into baking and designing, you know, there's a lot of tutorials on YouTube. I guarantee you, you can do it. So we're always looking for more. So thank you, Kim. Thank you for acknowledging me. And thank you for acknowledging Cake for Kids.
So please stand over here, both of you. Yes. And we are going to bless you. We are proud to support Cake for Kids, and we'd like to bless you by saying, we love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the light in you. So it is. Thank you. Thank you. And I think that the message today is just love. That's it. And to get more, we have more love coming. Because now I'd like to ask our prayer chaplains who are serving us today to please stand. So you have Linda and you have Sarah Ann. So if you are in need of prayer, our prayer chaplains are here to lovingly listen, to hold sacred space, and affirmatively pray with you after service. So thank you, Linda, and thank you, Sarah Ann, for serving us in this way. And now I invite you all to stand to sing our song of peace.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, family all are
And now our prayer for protection. Together, the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Love and blessings, everyone. Have a wonderfully open-hearted week. We'll see you next week.
Your love never fails, it never gives up, it never runs out on me. Oh, your love never fails, it never gives up, it never runs out on me. Your love never fails, it never gives up, it never runs out on me. Your love, oh, your love. No, no, your love never fails, it never gives up, never runs out on me. Your love never fails, never gives up, it never runs out on me. Your love never fails, it never gives up, never runs out on me. No, your love, oh, your love never gives up, oh, it never runs out on me. Your love never fails, it never gives up, it never runs out on me. Your love never gives up, oh, it never gives up, never runs out, and it never runs out on me. Oh, your love never fails, it never gives up, it never runs out on me. Your love never fails, it never gives up, it never runs out on me. Your love never gives up, never runs out, no, it never gives up, never runs out on me. No, no, your love never fails, it never gives up, it never runs out on me. Your love never fails, it never gives up, never runs out on me. Your love never fails, it never gives up, it never runs out on me. Your love never fails, it never gives up, never runs out on me. Your love. Never gives up on me. Your love never gives up, never gives up, never runs out on me. No, no, your love, it never gives up, it never runs out on me. Love, 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 love. Rock and roll, baby. Thank you, and I love when you dance and stretch. Oh, it's so beautiful. Oh, you're so welcome. It's so fun. You know, it makes me want to like move up here. So I love it. Thank you. Thank you, my dear.
Feathers.